Part 2 of Section 3.5 is on multiplying two binomials. Okay, like I said at the end of the other video, you are still going to be using the distributive property here. It's just that now we have two terms that we have to distribute. Okay, if I look at 4x plus 5 times 3x minus 4, I want to take the 4x, the first term in my first binomial, and I want to distribute that times each term in the second binomial. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to be doing is multiplying 4x times 3x, which will give me 12x squared, adding the exponents. Then I multiply 4x times negative 4, which would be negative 16x. Okay, so I've just distributed the 4x. Then I have to go back and distribute the second term in the binomial. So if I distribute the 5 times 3x would be a positive 15x. 5 times negative 4 would be a negative 20. Okay, when you multiply two binomials, you will get 4 terms in your first step. Okay, typically we call this multiplying using the FOIL method. Okay, F-O-I-L. This is just kind of a way to remember that we multiplied the first two terms together, 4x times 3x. We say that that's the first two terms in each binomial. So that's where we get the F from. Then we multiplied 4x times negative 4, and we say that these two terms are in the outer part of my problem. So we say this is outer. That's where we get the O from. Then I multiplied 5 times 3x, which gave me the 15x. Those two terms are on the inside, or the inner part of my problem. So that's where we get the I from. Then we multiplied 5 times negative 4, which gave me negative 20. And those are looked at as being the last two terms in each binomial. So we say that's the last. And so that's where we get the L from. So if you've heard of the FOIL method, this is what it is. But, go back and just think, it's really just distributing. Okay, so if it says multiply or multiply using FOIL, you're distributing. Okay, we're not finished with the problem, so let's go back and look. These are the 4 terms that I have. Do I have any like terms? Okay, most of the time with the binomials, it's going to be the 2 terms in the middle. So I would bring down, I'm going to skip down here, my answer would be 12x squared. I've got a negative 16x and a positive 15x. That would be a negative 1x and negative 20. This would be my final answer. Now, most of the time, not every time, but most of the time, your answer will be a trinomial, okay, typically. All right, so let's look at number 5. We have y minus 10 times y plus 11. Okay, again, it's two binomials, so it's usually what we call the FOIL method. I'm going to take the first term, the y, multiply it by the first term in the second polynomial, so that's also a y. Y times y gives me y squared. The outer would be y times 11, which would be a positive 11y. The inner would be going back with the second term, the negative 10 times y would be negative 10y. And last, negative 10 times negative 11, which would be negative 110. Okay, then we look at our problem and say, okay, what can we put together? Y squared comes down, we have like terms. Positive 11y, negative 10y would be positive 1y minus 110. So this would be my final answer. Okay, which this time also was a trinomial. All right, number 6. start with the first term in the first binomial. X times 3x will be 3x squared. Outer, x times negative y. Okay, positive x, negative y is going to be a negative xy. If we have more than one variable, we like to put them in alphabetical order. Okay, then I go back. Got to distribute this negative 4y. We say this is our inner. Negative 4y times 3x would be negative 12xy. Last would be negative 4y times negative 1y. Two negatives will be a positive 4y squared. Okay, you got to really watch those signs here also. Do I have like terms? Okay, look at the terms in the middle. I have a 3x squared that I'm going to bring down. A negative xy, a negative 12xy would be negative 13xy plus 4y squared. And this would be my answer.